In this presentation, we will continue on with the process of creating a course or a season within Amazon Prime. This time, we will be creating the actual season and we will be filling out the catalog listing and cast. Get ready for business, online business. Here we are on the Amazon Prime video creation or season creation website. Remember, you're going to go to a URL, something like this, videodirect.amazon, and create an account. So once you have the account, then we're going to be at the dashboard. So that's what we did last time. So now we have these three tabs up top. We have the dashboard, we have your videos, and the landing page. We're then going to go to your videos. Then within your videos, the assumption here is we have something that's like a course, and we want to make that into an episode type of thing, right? So we're going to say, all right, we're going to do an episode. Most likely not a standalone, unless you have really short courses. If you got a really short course and you just want a standalone type of thing, I haven't tried that. You might want to do that. That might work well. You might have a standalone, if you have one course that's broken out into like a few hours, less than 2 hours, I would assume, then maybe you just want one standalone. Maybe you combine them all together into one standalone. You could try that. I typically would think, however, they would fit well into an episode type of format. And then we have the add a series. So we're going to be adding a series is what I would do, and then possibly have seasons to break up the content within the series. That's how it would seem to tie out most easily to me. So I'm going to go ahead and add a series here. Now we have the series title. If I go back over, remember what we're basically doing is taking this information. We created a course called Online Business Work from Home, and we're going to convert that over. Now, I'm really skeptical, however, with Amazon because I bet they're going to be really picky in terms of anything that sounds markety, or which means anything related to money, anything related to business. It's not that they don't like business, obviously, but I think they're going to be skeptical of that kind of marketing because it can be spammy, and they don't want that. So I think I might just change the name to something like, anytime you're going to do that, I mean, if you put anything on there that says, make $1,000 a day or whatever, most of these platforms are not gonna like it. Even if you put something like that's reasonable, like make some money a day, they're going to be skeptical of it, and you can see why. It's not that they're, anyways. So I'm going to call it online learning tools. So something like that's geared towards learning as opposed to generating revenue. And then synopsis, we will learn how to use online tools. Let's say online tools to learn and work from home. And so I'm going to say, please, category, the category. I'm going to pick educational here for the category. So we'll pick educational, and then the language. They currently have English, German, and Japanese. So if you fall into those, if you can do multiple, I think you can do that too, which would be great. So I'm going to go ahead and say continue. So let's continue, and that should set up our series. All right, now we're to the more tricky part here. So now we're going to add the catalog listing. Now you basically have to do this entire thing, or else it won't save it. So if you only fill out half this page, you're probably not going to be able to save it. And the tricky thing down here is often the graphics, because the size of the thumbnails are not exactly the same as the size that you would typically think for other types of thumbnails. That's usually the thing that's a little bit tricky. I'm going to show you how I've got a system to kind of work with it that I think works well. So and it took me a really long time to do it because I'm just obviously not aware of these types of things, but I think I got it figured out now. So now let's go to the synopsis again. All right, so synopsis, I'm going to say learn to use online tools to help learn and work from home. Then we've got the genre. The genre, they give you 3 options. So you can pick 3 of them. I do not see any benefit really to not picking all 3. So you can probably find 3 from all these that will fit. So when you want to pick one, you're going to go into their categorization here. So I'm going to say, and then it'll give you the drop down. And so mine, I'm going to say, is in the nonfiction, and I'm going to be picking up like computers right here. So I'll say computers. So I picked up business and finance because it had business in it, careers and jobs, nonfiction computers. And then the country, you can pick your country. I'm going to pick the United States here. So I'll pick the US, a lot of different categorizations that you can have there. So they have a lot of countries included. Then the original language, I'm going to pick the English United States. Again, there's a lot of variants. It's not just like English. They have different categories within English and whatnot, which is interesting. So there's a lot of options there. So I'm going to pick English for the US, and then I'm going to say the original release date is 2020. And then the rating, suggested rating, you got to pick one, I believe. So I just picked the suggested rating and 13 plus. I think that'll be fine. And then we have to go to the graphics down here. So now let's read through their graphics because this is where they start getting picky. So key art, also known as cover or title art, represents your title on Prime Video. Please include legible titles on your key art. So legible titles. So they actually want the name on the key art. And you notice this is really different from Udemy because Udemy says we don't want any writing on the thumbnail. So if you try to put the same thumbnail into here on Prime, they might just reject it because there is no name on the thumbnail because they want the name and they want it very prominent oftentimes. So that's what they used to do. They may have changed since the last time I got into this. But the optional background image adds visual interest to video detail pages. For additional detail and examples, see the graphic asset guide. And then we have here that the image used in search result and title detailed pages requires, this is the ratio we need. All right, so let's take our image then. Let's take our thumbnail we created. So here it is. Here's the one we made. Now I'm going to save this into a new folder so that I have it somewhere different because I'm going to distort the dimensions of the slide to basically fit the dimensions that Amazon wants. So I would make sure to save it somewhere else so that you only use the distorted one for Amazon. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, okay, I need a title. So maybe I'll just make another slide down here and I'll put the title in first and just think about just the title and then think about how I can put the art in there. So I'm just going to say, all right, let's just do a text box and let's just put the title in there. And I want that to stand out well because this is, like I say, one of the major things that Amazon will give you a rejection for. And they let you fix it. They're not like some platforms that just say, oh, we're not gonna, we've rejected it, and your course is no longer acceptable, right? But they can be quite picky in terms of when and how they're gonna accept something. All right, so I'm gonna make a nice, large, prominent title here. So I'll make a nice, large title. Put that on the entire slide, perhaps, if I could figure out how to do that. Maybe not on the entire slide. Maybe I want it like there. Okay, online learning tools. And then we got to think about, all right, well, how does that fit? How could that fit with this here? So I could put this on top. So if I put this on top, it would look something like that, but then it doesn't stand out. So, I don't want to pull that one down. So maybe if I bring this like down here, or maybe I want it like right there, and then maybe I make this with a background on it so that it'll stand out like the fill. Maybe I make this part of it black, which takes up a whole lot of room. Seems awfully large. Maybe I can make this a little smaller. And it's going to get distorted too when I adjust the slide. So maybe I try to make this a little bit smaller. I'm moving the wrong thing. That's not what I'm trying to move. Like that. And then I'll adjust the size back down to like 140, let's say. Let's say just 100 maybe. 100. Let's try that. Oh, I only got one thing. I want like all the text to be 100. All the text, not just like a little piece. All right. How about that? So is that prominent enough for them? Something like that. Let's check it out. So I'm gonna work with that. I'm gonna save that, and then I'm gonna get, all right. So what ratio do they want here? So let's go back on over to Amazon and say they want a 16 by 9 ratio. So 16 by 9. Now when you think of these ratios, they basically mean like if you had a box here, they're saying it's 16 by 9. So 16 this way by 9. That's basically what they mean. When they talk about pixel ratings, they're doing the same kind of thing. So it's still the ratio will remain the same. So what I would do is say, all right, what's the rate? What if I compared 9 to 16? And there might be an easier way to do this, but this is how I do it here. So if I compare 9 to 16, I get that. All right, and so what do I have on my slide? If I go back to my slide and I go to the design and I say, well, let's take a look at the format or the size of this thing, the size of it, and say, now this is deceiving. This was what was driving me crazy before because it says 16 by 9 over here. But if I go to the actual size, I don't think it is 16 by 9 because if I go to the custom size here, it's on the wide slide, which is actually 13.333 by 7.5. So that's the thing. So what I'm going to do is adjust the size of this. I'm going to say, well, I'm going to make the larger one at 16. Let's make this 16. And then let's make the height to be 9. All right, so now it's 16 by 9. I forced it to be 16 by 9. So then I'm going to say, all right, let's adjust this slide. And I think it'll adjust it down here. The ratio should change. Now, 16 by 9. So there we have it. And so now let's go ahead and save this as a picture. So now we have, when we save it as a picture, note, at this point in time, it seems we have the ratio correct. The ratio being, 16 by 9 if we're talking about a square, but the number of pixels could be wrong now. Because if I go to the pixel count, it's got to be at least, they say, the same ratio, but at least 1080 by that, and that's the standard pixel count. So the pixel count just means how many pixels are there. So the ratio will be the same. So in other words, if we took this 1080 divided by the 1920, we still get that 0.5625, which is here, 0.5625. So now we've got this lined up at 16 in inches, 16 by 9, which is the same ratio, but now we have to do it by pixels, which is the number of actual little pixel boxes that are there. So the ratio's right, but now we might have to use another program just to change the pixel count. So let's do that, and we're going to use this paint program, but let me close this for now. And let's save this. I'm going to go to File, Save As, and then I'm just going to put this into my picture folder here. So I'm going to put it in the picture. I'm going to make it a JPEG file, as we've seen before, JPEG file, and I'm just going to overwrite the one that we have here. So I'm just going to save it as a JPEG, and then say yes, and I just want to save that one slide as a JPEG. So there we have it. So now I'm going to open up that slide. I'm going to open up that JPEG file and say, all right, let's open that thing up. Let's open up that file. So I'm going to right click on it, and I want to open it up with a program. I'm going to open it up with that Painter program. And that should be a program, I believe, that's free. It was free on this computer, and it's on a lot of computers, and it may be free if you were to download it. So let's go here. Let's go to Open With, and then I'm going to open it with Paint. So we're going to open it up with Paint. So this has minimal adjusting abilities, but I think we can adjust the pixel size related to it. So I want to be in the Home tab. I want to resize it now, and I can resize by the percentage, but I want to look at how many pixels are there. So it's at 4800 over 27. Now that's more, so it might be okay just at that, but they want that 1080. So, and notice I also have down here, it says maintain the aspect ratio. So that means this ratio won't change. So let's just see if it would work then. If we put in their amount of if I put in the 1920, the other side in this large side, the small side should be 1080. So I'm going to put 1920 up here. I'm going to say horizontal, let's say 1920, and that makes the vertical 1080. So that's their requirement there. So that looks good. I'm going to say, let's just do that. I'm going to say, all right, let's save that. 1920 by 1080. Now again, it might have been okay because the ratio, the way it was, because it had more pixels. More pixels might be better. They don't want something that's less quality, I believe. But now we're right on that amount. So I'm going to save that. Let's save it. And then I'm going to go back on over and say, all right, let's go back on over to here and see if we can upload. Now, we won't know the moment of truth until we actually save this thing and see if they deny it. And they usually will deny this one outright if it's not the right size. Like, you don't have to wait 2 weeks for them to then deny it. Okay, so that one is that one. And then we have this art, which is 4x3. So 4x3. If I go back on over to Excel and I was to think about this 4x3 one, all right, 4x3 would be 3 over 4, 70, 7.75, 75%. And so again, we're thinking of our square here where we have 4x3 or something like that as the inches we're thinking of, or then the pixel count that we'll go into. All right, so now we're going to say, all right, let's make this one and make it a 4x3. I'm going to save it as another slide here. I'm going to say save as, because I want to make this one, I'm going to adjust I'm going to make it a funny size again. So I'm going to say this is Amazon, this is the 4x3 one, so that I know this is the funny one. So then I'm going to say, all right, let's go if we can adjust the size of this one to make it, and it says 4x3 here, but again, I don't think it actually, let's try it. Let's say if you hit 4x3, it's going to say, do you want to maximize? And you could try either of these because it's going to have to adjust your settings to fit your picture in it. So if I pick that one, doesn't look too bad. It looks okay there. So that looks good. And then if I was to say, just out of curiosity, if I was to say customize, they got 12 and 9. So 12 and 9. If I pulled out the trusty calculator, we're going to say 9 over 12. Okay, that looks good. That's the same ratio. So that looks good there. So now I'm going to save that, and then I'll adjust the pixel count again. So I'm going to say, all right, let's save that. File, save as, make another picture of it. I'm going to put it into our picture file, so we'll put it into the picture file. I'm going to make it a JPEG as we did before, JPEG type of file. And then I'm just going to save it as is here. So we have 2 pictures. Just the one the one slide is all we need. We don't need the whole thing. All right, and then so now we should have this one. There it is. Let's open that with Paint, the Paint program now. So I'm going to say open with Paint here, and let's just see what the pixel ratings are. So what do they want for the number of pixels? Check this out. They want 1600 by 12. So if I put 1600 in the larger side of this thing, the other side should be 12. So I'll resize pixels. And this might be good. Again, it's larger, probably be okay. But I'm going to just say, well, what if I did 16? It would make the other one 12 because it's going to keep the same ratio. So that looks like the right size. So I'm going to say, all right, let's save that. And I'm probably removing pixels, which makes it less quality, but I'm meeting their minimum standard. So it might have been better for me not to do that. But in any case, I'm meeting the standard. So I'm going to say, let's save that. Then let's browse. And we'll say, if we can pick that picture up. So this is going to be the one that looks more like a square here. It's closer to a square. All right, let's pick that one up. And then this one's the background image. Background image, this image that appears on device detail screen and screen visual appear to convey a mood. So I don't think this one needs the text in it. So we might just want the picture on this one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, all right, let's go back to this one, but let's go back to the one that we made. It's using that 16 ratio again. So I'm going to open up the last PowerPoint that we used to make it the 16 by whatever PowerPoint. So I'm going to say 16 by 9 PowerPoint. So now I've got 2 PowerPoints, one by the 4x3 and one by the 16 by 9. So I'm going to go back into this one, which was the 16 by 9, and I'm going to say, let's copy this And let's just get rid of the text this time. And just take the picture file, which will be like the background kind of watermark file, I think. In some of the pictures is how they're going to use it. So I'll save that. And I'll make this one, save it to the picture file again. I'm going to say, let's make this a JPEG. We're going to save it. I'm just going to save it over the 16 one. I'm just going to save it over that one. And then I'm going to say just that one slide. All right. And then I'm going to go back into the picture file. I'm going to right click on it. Same file, has no words. I'm just going to adjust it to meet the requirements with the Paint program now. So I'm going to open up Paint. I'm going to resize it. I'm going to go to Pixels. And then I'm going to make this 1600 they want, right? And again, it's probably the minimum requirement. So I'm probably okay with it, what it is. No, it's 1920 by 1080. 1920 by 1080. So the larger one, 1920 by 1080. All right. So then I'll save that. And then I'll close it, save it. And then let's go back on over here and say, all right, let's upload this thing. Let's go ahead and upload it then, if we can, if you don't mind. So we're going to then go to the upload. And we'll just upload this thing. All right, there we have it. Now it's the moment of truth. We've got this whole thing filled out here, and these are going to be the tough components. We're going to say save. Now, if it rejects it, you got to keep doing it until it allows you to save it, or else you may lose the whole first component here. So if you get the first component down, you're basically done, and you can move on to the next area. And look at that. It says that your changes were saved. They will be applied when you publish this title. Now, obviously, if you get a red thing with like an X on it, then that's the indication that there's something wrong. And they'll be pretty specific on it usually. And if it is something that they can catch right away, like the size of the thumbnail, they do that pretty quick. Okay, let's move on to the cast and crew, which is a pretty straightforward. If it's just you making this thing, I'm just going to say Robert, maybe Bob Steele, CPA, and then I'll just copy that, and then we'll say, yeah, also happens to be the director, writer, producer. Could put, and then the top two of the four cast members below will be indicated in the whatever. So I don't have anything there, so I'm gonna save that. And that's how easy that one is. So then you're done with the cast and crew. Done and done. Now we go on to the episodes. So then we're going to go into the uploading process next time.